So it's been a while since we've worked on Project 720. And it's going to be a while longer because it's going to be going into storage for a little bit so we can work on combines. But we did find out we are going to have to reseal the new transmission for the pony motor. This is the second one that we've tried, and it seeps a little oil. It's not bad, but we got to remember that these transmissions are off of 720s that have probably got 8 to 10,000 hours on them. So we're just going to go ahead and reseal this one because everything else is tight in it. We're just going to go ahead and reseal this one and put it back on, and we don't have to ever worry about it leaking. So hate to get it all put together and it leak on our new paint. So we're going to be putting the 720 in the new part of the shop for now, and until we get the combines done, and then on rainy days we'll go in there and work on the 720. So it won't be forgotten. It's just going to be put on hold for a little bit. So today we're going to bring the 1660 in the shop and start putting its concaves and keystock grates back in. And I'm going to go probably tear some stuff apart on the gleaner, stuff that I can do outside that has to be done outside because there's not quite enough room in the shop to do it, like pull the unloading auger out of the side of the hopper so I can fix the elbow, or not the elbow, the part that comes out of the hopper that goes to the, well, you call it turret for the unloading auger. So a lot of fun stuff going to happen today. So we're going to get this stuff moved in there and bring the tractor still sitting outside. We got to bring it and roll it in there, and then we can get started on the other stuff. We got the 720 put into the new part of the shop, all tucked away for now. At least we can still go in there and work on it. So when we get the rainy days, like I said before, we can work on getting that transmission put back on the pony, get it resealed and all that, and painted, and back on the tractor. So now I'm going to go out and blow the combine off and go set the head off, and we'll bring the combine in here. We got the new concaves laying here. The thing was these are actually bent. The old ones are bent from wads of soybeans running through it, tough soybeans. So we decided it was time for new concaves. And the keystock grates, there was a strip of metal that came out of the feeder house that holds the feeder house chain. It holds it up. It rides up on it as it goes back around. Well, when that strip of metal broke out of the feeder house, it went through the rotor and it peeled some of the key stock out on the key stock grates. So I'm actually going to take these to the welding table, and I'm going to weld new bar stock or key stock back in to replace those. So because there's nothing wrong with these, they're straight, unlike these that are kind of screwed up and they're kind of rounded off. So we're going to get that combine in here, and we're going to get started on it and see what we can do today. Well, getting ready to bring the 1660 in the shop, but first, before I bring it in, I'm going to take our steel power head with blower, and I'll blow all the dust off that I possibly can to make it a little cleaner to work on. So we're going to get it blowed off, get it moved. Well, we got to take it out back, set the corn head off of it, and then we're going to bring it in the shop. So we're going to set the head off back here out back for now, and that way we can just put the combine in the shop. So I'm just going to put it right here. It's a good spot for it. I got everything disconnected already. So just set it down, back up a little bit, and pick the feeder house back up, and now we can head up to the shop. We'll come back later and we'll get the heads and take them in the shop one by one. We actually bought another 1063 head that it's going to be delivered Monday. We don't have it yet. So once we get it, we'll bring it back to the shop and get it ready to go. Adjust my camera here a little bit. So that other 1063 head, that's going to be actually probably the head that I run in a gleaner. So, stuff falling all over the place in here. So, pretty excited. The only thing is we want another water pump bearing head, but that's got the needle bearing head, or needle bearings in the rolls. So I'll just have to keep it greased. But if it turns out to be a good head, we're going to order the kits from Shoop's Parts and turn it into a water pump bearing head. So you guys that are into red combines, you'll understand what I'm saying. I'll do a video on needle pump or needle bearings and water pump bearing heads and show you the difference. So, now that we got the 1660 in the shop, I'm going to start changing the Rasp bars, which I've already taken one off the rotor already just to make sure that I had the right Rasp bars. Here's a used one. Here's a new one. These are nice and square and pretty tall. These are wore off and they're pretty rounded. And you can definitely see if you get down here the difference in the bolt hole where you can see the actual rasp bar, or the rasp bar, I guess you call it. I'll show you a good one. See the difference? How nice and square and tall that is. So I got all these. We ordered them through Worthington Ag Parts. There's let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 curved, and it takes 3 straights to do a 1660 with a normal rotor in it. So you also have the option to run straights here on the rotor, but as you can see, we don't run straights right there. If you have a wrapping issue with your rotor, take these straights off, get rid of them. That'll keep the rotor from wrapping, because then that allows these to actually thread the crop material up the concaves and keystock grates like a bolt, and these don't disrupt that. So it's a little trick that we found, and I think in the book it talks about taking them straight ones off if you have a problem. So while it's in here, we're going to do rasp bars. We're going to do the crop flow bars. I've got them new leaning up against the bench over there. So what I'm going to do is I already started here, and naturally, because of the balance of the rotor, where did I start? Oh, I started here. Naturally, with the balance of the rotor, it's going to want to find its own balance with that one being off. So I'm going to start in that row and just change them, and then we'll move to another row and change the other row. So Milwaukee 3/8 impact, 9/16 socket, 9/16 wrench. Milwaukee work light works great, lays in here nice. It gives me plenty of light to work. Suggestion, if you're going to order one of these kits from Worthington, just go ahead and order the bolt kit also. Get all new fasteners. Don't even mess around, because I mean, it's just easy to put new fasteners in and be done. This way, if you have a bolt or something you got to torch out, you've got them all laying right here ready to go back in. So no more than it costs. You might as well go with all new fasteners. Done the same thing with these crop flow bars. So these are what goes in there to replace them ones that the teeth are broken off. Got all new bolts with them, which is nice because the bolt head usually wears off pretty bad to where you can't really get a socket to stay on it. So probably those, I'll probably just take the torch and nip them off. So I'm going to get started replacing these, and we'll get some video. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the next one in line. Little good pointer is to go through and dig this all out behind here before you even get started. Just get you a 90-degree pick and just rip all the corn stalks and bean dust and all that out of there. Make life a lot easier. And remember, don't let your fasteners fall in your auger beds, because they'll end up in the hopper. You ever wonder where that random 3/8 or random nut and bolt comes from in the hopper? That's where it came from. It's really windy today. Really windy. There's stuff blowing all over the place. I dropped a nut. I'll have to get a magnet and find that later. So here we got a new Rasp bar. Clean this up. Get as much of that off as you possibly can. It don't have to be super clean. We got a new Rasp bar. Let's make sure that it's going to fit. They only go one direction. I got bolts, washers, and nuts in my pocket here. There we go. There. Okay, so we're going to move it up there. It'd been nice if they would have welded the nuts in the backside. Then you didn't have to hold them. But at the same time, that'd be kind of a pain if the nut got stripped out. Oh, there it is. There we go. Get that started on there. There we go. There's one bolt thread. They're kind of a lock nut, so they don't thread on too far. They're a clinched thread nut, so they're a lock nut. They don't thread on too far easily. That way they don't back off because of vibrations. Because as fast as this rotor turns, there's going to be some vibration. Okay. There's one Rasp bar put on. You can definitely tell the difference now. Let me get the camera in here. Well, you can see it on the camera. You can definitely see a height difference right here. So it's definitely time for new Rasp bars. I mean, they would have probably ran another season, but we're here. We got the time. We might as well change them. So here's that other one. I'm going to go ahead and just change it real quick. I know over in South America, they actually weld their Rasp bars up. And they weld their cones up, hard surface their cones like you would a piece of tillage equipment. I don't know why we don't do that here. But we just do things a little bit different overseas. But maybe they're a little more conservative. Maybe it's just harder to get these parts. And maybe they just don't have the equivalent to Shoops and Worthington Ag parts over there in South America. I don't know. Oh, come on, get in. There we go. Kind of an awkward position to work in. At least nice thing about this combine is you can get between here and the drive tire. You got some room since it's only got single tires. If it had straddle duals on it, might be a little tougher. Figure you get these changed out today while we got some time. It's supposed to rain next week, so that's okay with me because everything's so dusty. I'd like to see some rain on the soybeans before we start cutting. Get some of that dust washed off. And then some of the excavating work we got to do yet. It's been so dry, it's so dusty. So it just wouldn't bother me to get a little bit of rain right now. So there we go, there's two Rasp bars changed. So let's go ahead and take the last one off in that row that we need to take off, which is right here. If you don't have a Milwaukee 3/8 impact, go get one. They are definitely between this one and the 1/2-inch one. They work wonderful. I should probably put this rotor in drive or something. Got the rotor in neutral. That's why it's turning so easy. Oops, dropping up. just make sure when you're all said and done with this that you get all the stuff that you dropped. The nuts and washers aren't a big deal, but the bolts are. And the old Rasp bars, you'll want to get them out of there because those would just raise hell in the chopper on the way out. So anyways, that's how you change Rasp bars in a, well, 1460, 1660, 2166, 2388, all of the rotary IH machines. That's how you change Rasp bars. Like I said, this is not a specialty rotor. Specialty rotors have more Rasp bars and different placement. This is just your standard rotor for corn and soybeans, basically. So, but anyways, I'm going to finish changing these and then we'll move on to keystock grates. So I got all 15 Rasp bars changed. They're all done. The rotor turns nice and smooth still, so that's a good sign. That's all we're going to have time for today because I got to go to my grandma's for a anniversary party for her and my grandpa Ed. So we're not going to get to the key stock rates on this episode, but that's okay because I don't want to make this too long. I know some guys don't like long videos, so we're going to keep it short and sweet. So there you have it. That's how you change Rasp bars on a 1660, or any of them, any of the IH rotary combines. So tomorrow, Dad and I will get these concaves and keystock grates fixed and put back in, and I got to throw all them old Rasp bars out in the scrap pile. There's really no use for them after this. They're junk. So if you like this episode of Dirt Grain Steel, give me a like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.